Afternoon, I'm Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Friday, July 31st. Headlines from Arkansas and other places as well. Hillary Clinton gave a speech to the National Urban League today. That's a predominantly black organization, and she sounded themes that sounded just like a Democratic candidate. Bernie Sanders isn't going to get too far to the left of her. She talked about economic justice. She talked about race and said anybody has to acknowledge that race is still an impediment to advancement in America. She talked about Planned Parenthood. She said she supports that organization's aims. And she took direct aim at Jeb Bush for his talk about how people have the ability to improve their situation. She said it's hard to improve your situation when the government takes away your health care. I think that's going to be a central issue in our campaign. But in any event, she sounds like a Democrat. Shouldn't hurt her in the primary race. Big news headline potentially from Northwest Arkansas. Leslie Peacock reports that she hears from sources at Arkansas Children's Hospital, the major institution in Little Rock, which is having a few budget problems of its own currently, is talking about opening a new hospital in Northwest Arkansas on land donated to it in Springdale by George's Poultry. It has a clinic in that part of the state currently. Can we say a few words about Mike Huckabee? Like, go away would be my start. I was going to say that today's the day he's supposed to file his personal financial statement. It's been delayed twice. It wasn't on file as I prepared to record this. He did have a report filed on behalf of his Super PAC. This is an independent organization formed to support his candidacy, not affiliated with the campaign. Of course, it's run by his friends and put together by his advisors. It reported raising $3.5 million, $3 million from Ron Cameron, the Little Rock poultry magnate, $500,000 from a woman who's a co-owner of Silver Dollar City in Branson. So there you go. Interesting article in the New York Times today about the Koch brothers, the fabulously wealthy energy billionaires, who are now off on a public relations campaign to make themselves seem better to voters. You know, people ran against them and their dark money spending in the last election cycle. They're going to spend nearly $1 billion in 2016. They're going to try and convince people they're good guys. Gee, they may be good guys. Well, I'm not sure that they are entirely. They have some good instincts. One of them is even kind of friendly to same-sex marriage. But in Arkansas, they spent their money to uniformly elect a solid assembly of Republican politicians with the usual policy agenda. Low taxes, low environmental regulation, against abortion, against gay rights, all the usual things. And so you got to judge them by their work product, not by whether they're a good person to sit around a campfire and drink a beer with. Residents on Maryland Avenue in Twin Lakes will be happy to know that last night officers arrested, after he apparently shot himself, a man suspected of impersonating a police officer to rob homes in those two neighborhoods. I'd like to give a shout out to Attorney General Leslie Rutledge, not always a subject of my positive remarks. She's hired as her Solicitor General, her top appellate lawyer, Lee Rudofsky, who has been on the council staff at Walmart stores. He's a solid blue ribbon Republican, a Federalist Society member. His work in environmental law will probably fit in her view of not, the less regulation, the better. But he did do this one thing. He joined a big group of Republican lawyers who signed a brief in support of same-sex marriage in a amicus brief filed with the U.S. Supreme Court. That's a good thing. Leslie Rutledge herself has fought same-sex marriage in every way possible. She's got a case pending before her now on equal rights and birth certificate issuance to same-sex couples, so at least maybe her new employee might give her some good, sound, practical advice on that when those issues arise. The governor has to take over and switch responsibility for governing the Developmental Disabilities Council, the Department of Finance Administration. This is an agency that distributes federal money to nonprofits in support of disabled people, both physical and mental disabilities. A political patronage job holder that runs that agency, and which was coordinated with another politically patronage job appointed agency director, is now going to go to DFNA, which is getting a growing list of things to clean up because of problems and grant applications and that sort of thing. Finally, here's a funny word for you. Oh, Dennis Milligan. More stories out of the treasurer's office about the misdeeds of some of his staff, fake police reports. You'll have to go to the Arkansas blog to read all the details. Too lengthy to recount here. Oh, and I forgot the outrage of the day. Mike Huckabee, how could I forget? In a speech in Topeka, Kansas last night, he said that he would, if elected president, not rule out calling out federal troops and use of the FBI to prevent abortion, even if the U.S. Supreme Court still said abortion was legal in these United States. He said, yes, it might be controversial. Indeed, it might. Mike Huckabee will say anything, do anything to get a headline. This one seems sure to get him a lot more. That's it for today. I'm Max Brantley. Be back next week.